If one sentence can make you lose yourself, it's not their power, it's a part of you asking to be seen. Have you noticed how quickly a single look can change your heartbeat? A raised eyebrow, a casual jab, a joke that isn't really a joke, and suddenly you're defending things you never planned to defend. That moment isn't random. It's the moment an unseen part of you wakes up. The Stoics would say your judgment moved before your mind did. Jung would say your shadow spoke first. Let's slow that instant down. Imagine you're in a meeting. You share an idea you've been shaping for weeks. A colleague leans back and says, "Cute, but is it realistic?" People chuckle. Your face heats. Words sprint to your tongue, sharp ones. But underneath the urge to clap back is something older. A familiar fear of being dismissed. That's the shadow. Not evil, not dramatic, just the drawer you haven't opened in years, full of beliefs you never checked. I'm not enough. I have to prove myself. I only matter when I win. When someone pulls that drawer, your nervous system leaps to defend what it believes is at risk your worth. Jung's lens helps us see the other person clearly too. People who hurt, project. The coworker who mocks may be wrestling with their own insecurity. The friend who needs you small might be terrified of becoming invisible. That doesn't excuse behavior, but it changes your position on the chessboard. You're not a target you must avenge. You're a player who can refuse the move. The Stoic stance is simple and severe. You control your response. Dignity starts where reactivity ends. So here's the hard truth in the moment. Winning the exchange isn't the same as respecting yourself. Self-respect is not a louder punch. It's a steadier center. It's the quiet, trained refusal to let your instincts run the room. Marcus Aurelius practiced this by pre-rehearsing triggers. He expected interruptions, insults, incompetence. When they arrived, he met them like scheduled guests, not intruders. You can do the same. Name your likely triggers before the day begins. I may be challenged in the meeting. I may get a passive-aggressive text. I may be ignored. When the moment hits, you're not surprised. You're ready. But why do some moments grab you harder than others? Because shadow material is personalized. The jab that rolls off my back might pierce yours, not because you're weak, but because your story is different. Maybe you grew up earning love by overachieving, so doubt feels like exile. Maybe you learned to keep the peace by shrinking, so dominance feels like danger. The body remembers. Your chest tightens, your breath shortens, your hands tingle. That's not failure. That's a signal. The Stoic move is to put a breath where an impulse wants to live. The Jungian move is to ask, what exactly in me is this touching? Try this micro practice next time. 3 seconds, 1 breath, 1 question. 3 seconds. Count silently 1, 2, 3 to open space between emotion and action. 1 breath. Inhale slow, exhale slower. Lengthen the exhale to tell your nervous system, we are safe. 1 question. What did this just wake up in me? Fear of being ignored, of being wrong, of being unlovable. Naming it is power. What you name, you can hold. What you can hold, you don't have to hurl. Now let's be honest. Sometimes the urge to teach them a lesson feels righteous. But ask yourself, if I react now, am I protecting my values or rehearsing my wound? Self-respect means not betraying your own essence just to score a momentary victory. You can speak firmly without becoming the very energy that hurts you. You can set a boundary without making a scene. Calm is not submission, it's strategy. In neuroscience terms, it's leadership of your attention. In Stoic terms, it's choosing what is up to you. In Jungian terms, it's taking the wheel back from what was hidden. Another story. You're at a family dinner. A relative says, "So, still doing that little project?" Smiles around the table. Your throat tightens. You feel 12 years old again. You could fire back. Or you could do something subtler and stronger. You pause. You feel your feet in your shoes. You notice the heat in your cheeks. You breathe once, long. Then you answer clearly, without sarcasm. Yes, and I'm proud of the progress. No extra explanation, no apologies. You didn't win the table. You won yourself. That shifts everything that comes next. Because here's the pivot. The problem isn't only toxic people. The deeper problem is the unexamined contract inside us that says, they get to tell me who I am, and I must respond. Break that contract. You don't have to play every game you're invited to. Not every comment deserves your cortisol. Not every provocation is your teacher. Some are just noise. The discipline is learning to sort signal from noise in real time. This video is a training ground for that discipline. First, we'll make sense of toxic through Jung's framework, the shadow and projection, so you can see the pattern before it grabs you. Then, we'll move into 5 field-tested principles to protect your dignity without hardening your heart. Recognizing the shadow and refusing instinct. Separating ego from self. Not mirroring the energy that harms you. Setting boundaries as an act of inner leadership. And finally, holding transformative silence, the kind that restores power rather than hides pain. Think of it this way. Every trigger is either a trap or a doorway. If you react, the trap closes. If you notice, the door opens. On the other side of that door is something rarer than victory in an argument: sovereignty. The authority to decide what reaches you, how far it gets, and what it turns into once it's inside. That's the Stoic art. That's Jung's integration. And that's the self-respect you can carry anywhere. Stay with me? In part 1, we'll step into Jung's map and learn to recognize the shadow ours and theirs, so that the next time someone tries to pull you off center, you'll know exactly how to keep your footing. Up next, Jung's lens: why projection makes their attack feel personal, and how to spot it before it hooks you. Sometimes the person who hurts you the most isn't your enemy, it's your unconscious mirror. Have you ever met someone who could ruin your peace in just one sentence? They smile, they sound calm, yet something in their words crawls under your skin. You replay it for hours, even days, wondering why it stung so deeply. The truth is, they didn't create that pain, they triggered it. Carl Jung called this invisible exchange projection, when a person throws their unhealed wounds onto others, forcing you to carry what they refuse to face. And in that collision between their shadow and yours, the storm begins. But let's be clear. Toxic people aren't always villains in black cloaks. They can be the coworker who jokes at your expense, the friend who disguises envy as concern, or even a family member who makes you feel guilty for being yourself. They don't need to scream to be destructive. Sometimes it's the quiet tone, the little sigh, the perfectly timed silence that says, "You're not enough." So who are these people really? From Jung's perspective, they are not evil. They are unconscious. They live entirely under the rule of their shadow, the parts of themselves they cannot bear to see. Jealousy, control, fear, shame. Because they reject those traits, they throw them onto others. Think about it. The person who constantly calls others weak is terrified of appearing powerless. The one who blames everyone else is drowning in self-shame. The manipulator who controls through guilt has likely never known love without conditions. They are not bad souls. They are wounded souls trying to outrun their pain. And unfortunately, they run straight into us. When you meet someone like this, you might start to doubt yourself. Maybe I really am the problem. You over-explain, over-prove, over-apologize, and without noticing, you're living inside their story. A story written to hide their own darkness. Here's the part most people miss. Every toxic encounter is also a mirror. Jung said, everything that irritates us about others can lead us to an understanding of ourselves. These people don't just arrive to hurt you, they arrive to awaken you. They point to the unhealed corners of your own soul. If you don't recognize that, life will keep sending you the same test in different faces. The boss who controls you, the partner who belittles you, the friend who drains you, all variations of one deeper message. Look inward, heal this part, Stop repeating the pattern. Imagine your inner world like an ocean. The surface is your conscious life, calm, logical, controlled. Beneath it lies the deep water emotions, memories, wounds you've never fully faced. A toxic person stirs that water. They drop a stone and waves rise. Not to destroy you, but to reveal what still moves inside. Maybe you keep meeting controlling people because deep down, control feels safer than vulnerability. Maybe your childhood taught you that surrender equals danger, so you attract dominance to feel familiar. Until you see it, the pattern continues. The Stoics understood this centuries before psychology had a name for it. Epictetus said, "When someone provokes you, remember that the problem lies in your judgment, that it is an injury." In other words, what disturbs you reveals what you still have to master within yourself. This realization doesn't mean you must tolerate toxic behavior. Jung never said, endure it. He said, make the darkness conscious. When you understand how projection works, you stop taking it personally. You see their words as data, not destiny. You recognize, this is their wound, not my worth. And that's liberation, not from them, but from the version of you that kept reacting. Every relationship, Jung wrote, is a meeting of two unconscious minds. When someone triggers you, they're not just talking to you, they're talking to your unseen self. Your task isn't to fight them, it's to listen to what inside you is answering back. That's the Stoic Jungian crossroad. Emotions aren't the enemy, they are signals. When you feel anger, envy, or humiliation, don't rush to silence it or project it outward. Turn inward and ask, what in me is asking to be acknowledged? The moment you can observe the reaction without being consumed by it, the other person loses power. Because self-respect doesn't begin with confronting the toxic person. It begins with understanding who you become when facing them. And once you know that, they can no longer pull you out of yourself. Remember this, you don't become free by imagining light. You become free by walking through your darkness with open eyes. So next time someone's words ignite you, don't just ask, why are they like that? Ask, why does this reach me so deeply? That's where transformation starts. In the next part, we'll explore the first practical step, how to recognize your shadow in real time and stop reacting on instinct before it controls you. The real battle isn't with toxic people, it's with the part of you that wants to fight them. You know that moment someone crosses the line, says something cutting, and before you can think, you've already reacted. You send the message, raise your voice, slam the door. And later, you replay it again and again, wishing you'd stayed calm. That's the moment when your shadow took the wheel. Carl Jung once said, until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life, and you will call it fate. In Stoic terms, that's the difference between reaction and response, between being ruled by impulse or guided by principle. The danger doesn't lie in them, the loud coworker, the manipulative friend, or the relative who loves to test your patience. The danger lies in our unconscious reaction, the shadow inside that still wants to prove, to win, to be right, to be seen. That's where the real fight happens. Shadow equals the parts of you won't admit: envy, control, fear, shame, the hunger to be seen. Projection equals the mind throws those disowned parts onto others, so you think they are the problem when it's your unclaimed material being touched. Integration equals name, own, lead. If you can label it, you can lead it. Shadow unnamed becomes script. Shadow named becomes signal. So, how do you master that inner storm? The first step is recognition. Everyone has a shadow. The aggressive part, the jealous part, the part that still fears rejection or shame. Pretending it doesn't exist doesn't make it disappear. It only makes it stronger. When someone triggers you, pause for just a second and ask, what part of me is reacting right now? Is it fear of being dismissed? The memory of being humiliated? The craving to be respected? When you can name the emotion, you stop being it. Recognition is freedom. Try this. Next time you feel anger rising, Don't rush to silence it or justify it. Observe it like a scientist studying a volcano, not to stop the eruption, but to understand what fuels it. When you understand it, you can guide it. Now here's a small but powerful practice, the 3-second pause. When someone provokes you, give yourself those 3 seconds before you reply. Inhale. Count 1, 2, 3. In that space, you step out of instinct and into awareness. That's where your strength begins. A Stoic would say, between stimulus and response, there is choice. In those 3 seconds, you take back control of your story. You can even extend that pause beyond the moment by writing. After a confrontation, open a notebook and write down exactly what happened and how it made you feel. I felt dismissed. I felt angry. I wanted to prove myself. Don't censor it. Don't polish it. Just write. Because once emotion becomes language, it transforms. Jung called it integration, turning raw energy into consciousness. And the simple act of writing can cut your anger in half. But don't stop there. Transform that energy deliberately. You can do it through movement, through journaling, through meditation, even through creative expression. The goal is not to suppress emotion. Suppression turns into tension and resentment. The goal is to release it consciously, to turn that dark fire into something that strengthens, not scorches. Here's a technique Jung's followers used. Active imagination. Close your eyes. Picture your shadow sitting in front of you. Maybe it looks like a darker version of yourself. Talk to it. Say, I see you. I know you're angry. I know you're trying to protect me, but you don't get to drive. You're not rejecting your anger, you're reparenting it. That conversation is where transformation starts. Another Stoic practice aligns perfectly. Emotional presence. When you feel pain or anger, don't analyze it. Don't fight it. Feel it. Notice where it lives in your body. Is it in your chest, your stomach, your throat? Breathe into that spot. Let the wave rise and fall. No emotion lasts forever if you don't feed it with resistance. And when you sit still with that feeling, even for 1 minute, something miraculous happens. The emotion softens. The urge to react fades. You become bigger than the feeling itself. That's the birth of inner mastery. Now, remember this. Refusing an instinct isn't suppression, it's awareness. Suppression is silence, born from fear. Awareness is silence, born from strength. Every time you choose conscious silence instead of impulsive reaction, you sharpen your self-command. You become someone who can be provoked but not possessed. You begin to hear the deeper voice beneath the noise, the one that says, I know who I am. I don't need to prove it. And that's when the real question arises. If someone's words can make you forget your worth, do they really have power or did you hand it to them? Each moment of restraint is not weakness. It's training. Every breath you take before speaking is a small victory over chaos. Because in the end, freedom isn't about controlling others. It's about mastering the invisible battlefield within yourself. In the next chapter, we'll explore how to separate your true self from the attacks that try to define you, and how to stay unshakable when someone tries to make you forget who you are. It's facile of I am. If their words can break you, it's not proof they're powerful, it's proof you handed them the microphone. There's a difference between being hit and being hurt. A word can hit your ears. It only hurts when it slips inside and becomes your identity. When someone criticizes you, you're not serious, you're too much, you're not enough. What gets pierced first isn't your essence, it's your ego. The ego craves 3 things: to be recognized, to be right, to be loved. The self, by contrast, doesn't beg, it simply is. Calm, steady, intact. Our work is to keep attacks where they belong at the surface so they never get promoted to our core. Picture this. A colleague says in a meeting, honestly, I don't think you're the person for this project. The room goes quiet, your chest tightens, your mind races to defend, explain, justify. That surge is the ego rising, not because you're weak, but because your nervous system thinks approval equals safety. The Stoics warned us about this trap. Epictetus would say, "Focus on what's up to you." Their opinion? Not up to you. Your response? Entirely yours. So, how do we keep the self in the driver's seat when the ego is screaming for the wheel? Practice 1. Listen without absorbing. The glass pane. Imagine a clear pane of glass between you and the speaker. You hear every word, you see every expression, but nothing penetrates. Their words strike the glass and fall. You don't deny reality, you reposition it. You're not the target, you're the observer behind the glass. In psychology, this is non-identification. In Stoic language, it's choosing the vantage point of reason over the pull of emotion. Practice 2. Ask the right question. Instead of, "Are they right about me?" Ask, "From what wound are they speaking?" The serial blamer often carries quiet shame. The person who calls others useless fears being seen as powerless. Understanding this doesn't excuse poor behavior, but it breaks the spell of personalization. Their words describe their mind more than your worth. Practice 3. Create an inner safe space. Breath anchor. Inhale silently, say, "This is me." Exhale silently, say, "That is not me." Repeat 3 times. Slow your exhale slightly longer than your inhale. This signals safety to your body, letting the self step forward. When your biology calms, your beliefs become clearer. Practice 4. Reparent the inner child that still believes I'm not enough. Attacks stick wherever an old wound lives. If a small, unhealed part of you still thinks love must be earned, criticism feels like exile. Meet that part with mature compassion. I see you. You're safe with me. We're worthy, even when unseen. As that inner child heals, external attacks lose their teeth. People can still speak, but they don't get to name you. Practice 5. Step out of the frame, the observer's seat. Close your eyes for 10 seconds. Imagine the scene as a movie. 2 characters speak, you and them. Watch without picking sides. See posture, tone, the rhythm of interruptions. Within minutes, your heart rate slows and your thinking clears. When you shift from actor to observer, you regain authorship of the story. Now, here's the liberating truth. Compliments and insults are twins. They both say more about the speaker than the subject. If praise defines you, criticism will also unmake you. Freedom means letting both pass through the same glass pane. Thank you. Noted. And back to center. Marcus Aurelius used to remind himself, reputation is a breeze. Character is a mountain. Let's ground this with a real-world moment. Say you post a project online. Someone comments, "This is mediocre." The ego wants to debate, to collect allies, to prove. The self runs a different checklist. Is there signal in the noise? If yes, extract it. What specifically could be improved? Is it just projection? If vague and hostile, it's not about you, discard. What's mine to own? If there's truth, absorb the lesson without swallowing the label. Improve the work, not your shame. Another example, a close friend says, "You've changed." The ego hears, "You're wrong for growing." The self hears, "Our paths are diverging." The first reaction starts a fight. The second opens a conversation. None of this means staying silent when boundaries are crossed. It means you speak from the self, clear, grounded, unhooked. I'm open to feedback. I'm not available for disrespect. No performance, no pleading, just alignment. A quick audit you can use in the moment. Body. Where do I feel this? Chest, throat, stomach. Belief. What story is the ego spinning? I'm failing. They'll leave. I'm exposed. Behavior. What action serves my values right now? Clarify, set a boundary, or disengage. Remember, you don't need to win to be free. You need to stay you. Every time you let an attack stop at the glass, you polish the surface of inner dignity. Every time you choose breath over bite, you train a nervous system that can't be hijacked by other people's storms. Here's the paradox the Stoics understood. When you stop trying to control what others think, you become astonishingly powerful. Not power over them, but power with yourself. That's self-respect, not loud, not dramatic, but unbreakable. So the next time someone fires a label at you, remember, a label only sticks if you walk over and press it on your own chest. Step back, breathe, let the word fall, then move from the self you've reclaimed. Up next, Principle #3, how to avoid mirroring their energy, so you don't become the very thing you're resisting. Every time you mirror their poison, you drink it first. You've felt it. That sting in a casual jab, the little smirk before a comment lands, the "I'm just being honest" dagger wrapped in a smile. Instantly, your body heats up, 100 comebacks cue in your mouth, and the scene writes itself. Your tone sharpens, theirs hardens, and suddenly you're not talking to a person. You're colliding with a wall. What just happened? Jung would say 2 shadows met in a hall of mirrors. Your unhealed part and theirs recognized each other, and reflex took over. The Stoics warned about this trap. When you copy someone's worst energy, you don't win, you vanish. Mirroring feels like defense, but it's actually surrender. You turn yourself into a reaction to someone else's pain. So here's the principle. When someone throws you fire, you don't become fire. You become shape. You become space. You choose what gets reflected back. Let's turn that into practice. The 1-second break. Interrupt the mirror. Not 3 seconds, just one. One beat. Look at them, breathe once, drop your shoulders. That single pause snaps the spell of automatic imitation. It says to your nervous system, we are not copy paper for other people's moods. You don't need a perfect line. You need a perfect gap. Name it in the body, label to lead. Silently say, this is anger, not me. Notice where it lives, throat tight, chest hot, jaw locked. The moment you label the sensation, you move from being the feeling to holding it. And what you can hold, you don't have to hurl. Choose compassion without collapsing. Compassion isn't rolling over. It's clarity with a warm heart. Try this inner sentence. Hurt is speaking through them. I won't let it speak through me. You aren't excusing behavior. You're refusing to amplify it. You stop the echo. 4. Speak from the self, not the wound. Mirroring argues. The self sets terms. Keep it short, clean, and toneless. I'm available for this conversation when the tone is respectful. Or, I'll step out now, we can revisit later. No sarcasm, no courtroom closing statement. You're not performing for the crowd. You're preserving your center. 5. Exit the loop, reward abstention, not retaliation. When you decline the invitation to fight, your ego screams, but we didn't win. Remind it, the only victory that matters is not becoming what hurts you. You just saved your energy for a battle that deserves it. Building something, loving someone, resting enough to stay kind tomorrow. Let's bring this to life. You arrive at work. A colleague tosses, nice of you to join us on time for once. A dozen responses flash. You choose the mirror or you choose mastery. You pause. Morning, you say, lightly. If you need something specific, let me know. Then you turn back to your task. No spike of tone, no eye roll, just a neutral pivot. They expected a spark to catch. You gave them air. And fires die without oxygen. Or imagine a family scene. An uncle smirks. That little business still not making real money? Your chest flares, but you take the one beat. I'm focused on the long game. You answer. Happy to share when you're curious. Then you redirect the room. By the way, Aunt May, how did your trip go? Boundary plus grace. You didn't match his frequency. You moved the channel. This is not weakness. This is weight. Marcus Aurelius put it simply. The best revenge is not to be like your enemy. He didn't say, swallow it. He said, don't become it. The heaviest people in a room are the ones who cannot be budged by petty wins. A quick field guide. When insulted, ask, what's the goal right now? Relief or respect? Relief shouts back. Respect chooses timing. When cornered by sarcasm, answer the content, not the tone. If the question is about the deadline, it's Friday. Then stop. The mirror starves. When you slip and snap, repair cleanly. I don't want to talk that way. Let's reset. Self-respect grows faster from repair than from perfection. You might ask, but what if they double down when I don't react? Sometimes they will, because your calm exposes that the game isn't working. Do not mistake escalation for evidence you're wrong. It's proof your boundary is visible. If needed, step away entirely. Calm withdrawal isn't defeat, it's strategy. The archer who refuses to shoot into the dark isn't scared, he's precise. Here's a deeper layer. When you refuse to mirror, you become a mirror of a different kind. You reflect your values back to yourself. You remember, I am the steward of my attention. In Stoic terms, others own their impulses. You own your choices. In Jungian terms, two unconscious minds stopped wrestling because one of them woke up. And there's an image that helps me. An arrow fired into the open sky. If you're living from the self, their attack is that arrow. It doesn't hit a wall. It loses force in the vastness of who you are. It falls quietly somewhere behind you. No scar, no debt. The hardest part? Your pride will crave a scene. It will want witnesses, a verdict, a clean confession from the other side. Let pride be proud and keep walking. Power you have to display is power you don't yet trust. So the next time a jab flies your way, ask yourself one question. Do I want to echo this energy or end it? Echoing is easy. Ending is rare. Ending is leadership. You don't have to match the room to master it. Choose the gap, name the feeling, speak from the self, and watch how many storms end where you stand. Up next, Principle #4, how to set boundaries as an act of inner leadership so your peace doesn't depend on anyone's permission. A boundary isn't a wall between you and them, it's a door where you finally hold the key. Before we talk about boundaries, let's clear one myth. A boundary is not a fight. It's a focus. It doesn't ask, how do I stop them? It asks, what value in me needs protection? That single question shifts you from defense to direction, from reacting to leading. Imagine your inner life as a house. Some rooms are bright, your work ethic, your kindness, your humor. Others are quieter, your need for rest, your creative curiosity, your faith. People bring their weather with them. When they enter, some arrive like sunshine, others like wind. If you don't know how to use the lock, the house fills with drafts you never invited. Stoicism calls this confusion of ownership. What is up to you and what is not? Jung calls it persona, the social mask that begs to be liked at any cost. Boundaries remove the mask and return you to the owner's seat. Start with this. A boundary is clarity with love. Clarity. This is what I allow. This is what I won't. Love. I'm not trying to punish you. I'm trying to preserve us, especially the best in me. Step 1. Name the value, not the villain. Before any conversation, ask, which value needs protecting right now? Dignity, time, focus, health, honesty. When you speak from a value, you don't need to raise your voice. Clarity carries its own volume. Step 2. Make 3 morning vows, the energy oath. Keep them simple and lived in. I have the right to leave conversations that make me small. I don't need to justify rest. I may disappoint someone to stay honest with myself. Read them aloud daily. You're not hyping yourself up. You're aligning your nervous system with leadership. Step 3. Set boundaries with energy, not just words. You've seen this. The same sentence can land very differently. I don't want to talk about that. Spoken from fear invites pressure. The same sentence from a steady chest and grounded breath stops the push. People are exquisitely sensitive to the state behind the syllables. Your body is the boundary before your mouth is. Step 4. Expect the persona panic. When you first hold a line, the old social mask screams, "They'll think you're selfish. They'll leave." That's not intuition, that's conditioning. The mask was built to be accepted. Individuation, the becoming of who you truly are, requires letting that mask feel uncomfortable without letting it decide. Step 5. Practice scripts that honor both sides. Work. Happy to discuss deliverables. I'm not available for last-minute weekend changes. Let's plan earlier next sprint. Family. I love you. I won't continue when the conversation turns insulting. We can try again later. Friendship. I care about this relationship. I'm not your emergency line at 1 a.m. on weekdays. Let's catch up Saturday. Short, specific, neutral. No sermon, no courtroom. The more you explain, the more you invite debate. Let's try 2 scenes. Scene 1. The office. A manager drops, "Quick thing needs you on a Sunday." Your stomach drops. The old you says yes and resents them all week. The individuating you breathes, feels your feet, and answers, "I'm offline Sundays. If it's critical, let's align priorities now or move the deadline." They push. You repeat once, calmly. If they escalate, you don't. You document, you redirect, you protect. You didn't punish them. You protected your capacity to produce quality Monday. Scene 2. The table. A relative jabs. Still doing that little project? Heat rises. Persona wants to please. Pride wants to punch. The self speaks, "I'm committed to it. Happy to share if you're genuinely curious." Then you change the channel. "How was your week?" You stayed kind without surrender. That's love with a backbone. Here's the paradox. Boundaries don't make you colder. They make you truer. Love without boundaries turns into fatigue and quiet resentment. Kindness without boundaries becomes self-erasure. When you hold a line, you're not withdrawing love. You're protecting the root system that love grows from: sleep, respect, attention, truth. How do you know your boundary took? Not when they clap for you when you feel clean. Peace arrives even if they don't understand. You stop rehearsing speeches in the shower. You stop hating yourself for the yes you didn't mean. Jung would say, "The self stepped forward." Marcus would say, "You return to what is yours." A quick field checklist you can keep on your phone. Body. Is my breath low and slow? If not, pause, reset. Value. Which value am I guarding in this moment? Line. Can I say it in one sentence, no edge? Loop. If pressured, can I repeat once and then exit? Love. Does my tone honor us both even if we disagree? If you slip and you will repair instead of ruminating? Hey, I said yes too fast. I'm not able to. Here's what I can do. Dignity grows faster from clean repair than from brittle perfection. Some people will test your new edges, not because they're evil, but because your old pattern trained them otherwise. Expect a little friction. Stay steady. A boundary is like a new path through grass. At first, it's barely visible. Walk it often enough, and it becomes the way. A boundary is not a punishment. It's a promise to your time, your health, your purpose, your peace. When you honor that promise, you don't become harder. You become whole. Up next, Principle #5, how silence, held from the self, turns conflict into clarity without costing you your dignity. Silence isn't giving up, it's taking back the steering wheel. There's a kind of quiet that isn't fear, and it isn't defeat. It's the quiet of a pilot's hands steady on the controls during turbulence. When the room gets hot, sarcasm, accusations, bait, most people talk louder to feel safer. But the moment you need to prove, you've already handed over the wheel. The unintegrated shadow needs applause or a fight to feel real. The integrated shadow doesn't. It's already home. Stoics understood this long before psychology named it. If it is not right, do not do it. If it is not true, do not say it, Marcus wrote. Chosen silence is a decision to stop fueling a fire that doesn't deserve your wood. It isn't passive. It's an active refusal to be drafted into a battle that shrinks you. Let's make that practical. Active silence versus avoidant silence. Avoidant silence is a shut-door cold, rigid, resentful. Active silence is an open window, clear, grounded, present. You're not hiding. You're holding your center. One drains connection, the other protects it. You can feel the difference in your body. Avoidant silence tightens. Active silence loosens. A Zen image to carry. A student asked a master, "What do I do with an insult?" The master said, "If someone offers you a gift and you don't accept it, who owns the gift?" The answer is the map. When you don't accept the provocation, it remains with the giver. Not because you're superior, but because you're sovereign. The 3 moves of chosen silence. Notice, name, nerve. Notice. Microscan your body for 5 seconds. Where's the heat? Throat, chest, jaw. You've just stepped from impulse into awareness. Name. This is the urge to prove. This is the old fear of being dismissed. Naming separates you from the wave. Nerve. Take one longer exhale than inhale. This cues your nervous system. We're safe. From safety, dignity speaks. From danger, ego shouts. Silence in real rooms, scenarios and lines. The meeting trap. Someone pokes. Do you even understand the numbers? Your shadow wants thunder. Instead, you hold the room with your breath, look at the screen, and say only what's necessary. Let's anchor in the data. Slide 7. You ignore the bait, not the work. The wind looks for a flame and finds a lake. The family hook. That little business still not serious? With active silence, you soften your face, sip your water, and let 3 seconds pass. Then, I'll share when you're genuinely curious. If the tone stays sharp, you release it to the floor. Conversation shifts. You didn't win them. You kept you. Text provocation. A message arrives at midnight. So I guess you don't care. Chosen silence means no midnight courtroom. You sleep. Morning reply. I'll respond when we can speak respectfully. Period. Not a performance parameters. Why silence often escalates. Others and why, that's okay. Some people rely on your reaction to confirm their script. When you don't play, they push harder. That pressure isn't proof you're wrong. It's proof their usual method is failing. If escalation continues, withdraw fully and document. I'm pausing this thread. We can revisit with clear terms tomorrow. Calm withdrawal is not surrender. It's strategy. 4 anchors to hold the center. Eye line. Look slightly below the other person's eyes, soft focus. It signals presence without challenge. Posture. Shoulders down, weight in your heels, hands still. Your body speaks peace before your mouth does. Pace. If you do speak, have your usual speed. Authority rides on tempo. Phrase. Keep 1 sentence ready. I'm not available for this energy. Repeat once. Then silence. Repetition plus quiet equals boundary. Silence as soul language. Jung suggested the soul speaks through images, feelings, and stillness. Chosen silence lets you hear that language. This hurts because I felt unseen as a child. Or, this isn't my battle, this is my old pattern. In that hearing, the shadow is integrated, not crushed, not denied, but included and led. The part that once screamed now travels with you, seatbelt on. What silence is not? It is not swallowing abuse. If there's harm, you set a hard boundary or leave. It is not superiority theater. If your silence is a performance to appear above it, that's ego in costume. It is not permanent. Use it to de-escalate, then choose a time for clear talk or a firm line. A 60-second reset protocol. 0-10 seconds. Inhale through the nose. Exhale longer through the mouth. 10-20 seconds. Feel your feet in your shoes. Name the urge. Prove, punish, plead. 20-40 seconds. Decide. Boundary now or later. If now, 1 sentence. If later, let's pause here. 40-60 seconds. Return to task notes, slides, agenda. Move attention like a shepherd moves a flock. Why this works. Stoic and psychological logic. Stoically, you reclaim what's up to you: judgment, attention, action. Neurologically, long exhales turn down your amygdala's sirens so the prefrontal captain can steer. Jungianly, you stop shadow-to-shadow combat. 2 unconscious minds need a third thing: awareness, to break the loop. Your silence is that third thing. The quiet victory. The need to win is loud. The act of not participating is quiet, and it changes the room. It's the difference between being weathered by storms and learning to be the climate. The more often you practice, the less often provocation finds a handle. One day, a sentence that used to wreck you lands and falls behind you like an arrow that ran out of sky. You don't owe every invitation your energy. When silence is chosen, it doesn't shrink you, it returns you. Let their storm pass. Keep your horizon, then decide. From the self, what deserves your words? Up next, we'll weave all 5 principles into a single, daily protocol you can use in real conversations. So dignity isn't a theory, it's a reflex. When the storm ends, the only thing that matters is who you chose to be while it raged. When the dust finally settles after the meeting ends, the text thread goes quiet. The room empties. What lingers isn't their sentence. It's your choice. It's the way you treated yourself in the middle of the whirl. Look back at the last conflict that grabbed you. Maybe it was a sly comment at work, a familiar jab at the dinner table, or a stranger online who wrote a paragraph designed to bruise. In the moment, it felt huge. But now that the air is clear, the measurement is simple. Did I protect my center? Did I keep faith with my values? Did I leave myself with dignity? That's self-respect. Not a grand speech, not a perfect clapback, just a series of small, faithful choices that accumulate into something unshakable. The Stoics had a quiet genius for this. They knew the day is built from microscopic moves. The breath you take before you speak. The little shake of the head when provocation invites you to dance. The quiet decision to walk away from a conversation that's no longer worthy of your time or your spirit. These are not glamorous moments. They won't trend, but they form a spine, because every time you slow one breath, you're reminding your body, I'm in charge here. Every time you refuse a baited sentence, you tell your psyche, I don't owe every invitation my energy. Every time you exit a room early, instead of staying to prove a point, you whisper to your soul, we choose peace over performance. Add those choices up, and something changes. People can still try to name you, but the label won't stick. They can stir the wind around you, but your direction remains your own. That's the harvest of this work. The world gets weather. You become climate. Let's make it tangible. Tomorrow morning, you'll face one of 3 tests. The subtle undermine. Someone couches disrespect in humor. Old you tries to outjoke them. New you breathes, answers the content without the tone, and moves on. Deadline's Friday. No edge. No stage. The emotional hook. A message arrives that demands your midnight cortisol. Old you argues with a phone. New you sleeps, then replies, I'll respond when we can talk respectfully. That's not coldness. That's stewardship. The familiar doubt. A voice, maybe theirs, maybe yours, says, you're not enough for this. Old you scrambles for proof. New you returns to practice. Inhale, this is me. Exhale, that is not me. Then you do the next honest thing in front of you. These are the small moves that rebuild sovereignty. Tiny, but tectonic. And the more you practice, the more you'll notice a second miracle. Toxic people lose their privileges. They no longer get to define you, steer you, or script you. They can still try, of course. Winds always try, but winds don't move mountains, not anymore. Jung would say this is what happens when the shadow is brought into the light. You don't purge it, you integrate it. The parts that used to hijack you, fear of being dismissed, the itch to prove, the hunger to be seen, are still in the car, but they're buckled into the back seat. The self is driving. The route is honest. The speed is steady. And then slowly, you feel it, that sensation of coming home. Home isn't a street address, it's a stance. Home is when the noise no longer sets your rhythm. Home is when silence doesn't feel like defeat. Home is when your boundaries aren't barbed wire. They're clean lines that let love grow. Home is when you can sit inside your own life without asking strangers for a map. From that place, you start to notice the world differently. You see the hurt behind harshness, so you can answer without absorbing. You spot projection when it's launched, so you don't carry what isn't yours. You feel the pull to mirror, and you let it pass like a wave that breaks at your feet instead of dragging you out. And you realize you didn't become colder, you became clearer. So here's the invitation as we close. Make your dignity a reflex, not a speech. Build it from breaths, from boundaries, from chosen silences, from sentences that are short and clean and kind. Let other people have their weather. Let your actions announce your climate. If you want a ritual to anchor this, try the evening 3 before bed. One breath you're proud of. When did you slow down instead of speed up? One boundary you held. Where did you refuse to explain your worth? One word you didn't need. What did you choose not to say, and how did it save your peace? String a week of those evenings together and watch what happens. The world keeps talking, as it always will, but you won't be tossed around by every gust. The shadow won't be steering you through side roads you never chose. And when someone tries to rename you, you'll smile, not because you're superior, but because you're home. They can stir the wind. They can't change your direction. Remember, the point was never to be untouchable. The point is to be untakeable, not taken from your center, not taken from your values, not taken from yourself. You don't need a louder life to feel free. You need a truer one built from small choices that honor who you are when nobody's watching. Stand in your light. Let it be enough. That's the kind of strength that echoes. In our next video, I'll give you a simple daily protocol, 5 minutes morning, 1 minute midday, 1 minute night. So these principles don't fade after you close this app. They become the way you live.